Welcome to the Divine Paradigm Symposium, revealing universal pathways to joyful living. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gregory Hogue.
And I'm Gail Hogue.
And together, we have been researching and developing sacred geometry technologies for over 36 years to support the evolving consciousness of humanity and all life on the planet. We felt the inner call to bring together a collaboration of poignant dialogues with other visionary leaders whose work we love and have followed for many years. We will explore their insights and knowledge in these conversations to bring inspiration and clarity for navigating this amazing time. As we emerge from the pattern interrupt of COVID and challenges of the past year, deep-seated inner knowing will bring us forward into something new and perhaps unpredictable. Our intent is to support you on your path forward into a life of fulfillment. We have some very penetrating interviews with this series. Each one will offer you something of extraordinary value. So stay tuned each day for the next 3 weeks to absorb all you can from each of these amazing people. Every program will be available for 48 hours, and you can watch all the replays on Sunday. So let's get started.
Okay, well, I am really excited. Today we have some friends that we've known for, wow, gosh, a long time, close to 30 years. And in fact, we connected with Jonathan Goldman through a dear friend of ours, Don Campbell. And there's a wonderful story, maybe we'll get to that if we can. And Jonathan and Andi, his wife, Andi Goldman, have been doing some amazing work with sound. And as pioneers, they're just incredible. So let me tell you about them. Jonathan is a renowned writer, musician, and teacher. He's the author of several books, including The Divine Name, the 2011 Visionary Award for Best Alternative Book of the Year, and The 7 Secrets of Sound Healing. A Grammy nominee, his award-winning records include Chakra Chants and The Divine Name. He's the founder and director of the Sound Healers Association and CEO of Spirit Music. In spring 2011, Jonathan Goldman was named as one of Watkins Mind, Body, Spirit magazine's 100 most spiritually influential living people. Andi Goldman, MA, LPC, is a licensed psychotherapist specializing in holistic counseling and sound therapy. She's the director of Healing Sound Seminar and co-director of the Sound Healers Association. She's a musician, teacher, sound healer, award-winning author, and the wife and partner has authored Chakra Frequency, Alternative Health Book of the Year, and their new best-selling The Humming Effect, which has just won the 2018 Gold Visionary Award for Best Health and Healing Book. Together, Jonathan and Andi have dedicated their lives to the path of service, helping awaken and empower others with the ability of sound to heal and transform. And you can find at Healing Sounds. Oh, so let's get started, Jonathan and Andi. How have you been through this crazy and amazing time that we've been going through this last year and a half?
Well, you guys, first of all, we just want to say thank you so much for this beautiful invitation to share with our audience. And we are delighted to be here. And we have known you guys for so long that this is a rare treat right now to be sharing together.
It's wonderful to be here. It's lovely to see you. It's great to be sharing, and we are honored. So thank you.
Oh, you're very
Thank
welcome.
you.
And we've been great. Thank you.
Both have a wonderful gift to give in this very transformative time. And so we're looking forward to your wisdom to impact all the people that are listening. So thank you.
You know, there's so much that intuitively you have brought into this dimension in working with sound. I know we use so much of your work in the background of what we're working with sacred geometry to work with the energy. So the energies of the time are shifting all of us. And last year was a real changer for many human beings. But it's nice to have a couple to sequester with. So how did you two manage with last year's unfolding?
You wanted to go?
I'll start by saying that things did not actually change that much for us, except that we got busier, which seemed impossible because we get at the age when we're really trying to slow down.
And you know, our work has continued, and of course we have been very challenged by the new forms that we get our work out to the world now. But actually we have not, there's been a part of us that has been so appreciative and grateful, first of all, that we have had each other during this year and a half, and feel very blessed about that. And so we've kind of just continued on doing what we normally do, as I know you guys probably have too.
I mean, I'm going to second that and just simply suggest that it is such a blessing for me to have my partner, my wife, my best friend, whatever, all combined with one person living with me. So we're on a level we don't have to go nowhere.
We've taken very good care of each other and are just blessed to be for that.
It really, it is such a blessing, and that, you know, so many of us who have great relationships have deepened our relationship during this time, because we really became everything to each other. And that, I think, is a real blessing, you know, as so many things shut down and we couldn't do what we were normally primed to do. It really did bring us into the depths of our relationship. And something that we found, and maybe you can speak to this a little bit too, is it also was a time of healing where issues that maybe, you know, have been hanging around but didn't quite get to the surface yet did come, because we were spending so much time with each other. So, you know, we found that it was an opportunity for us that way. Did you experience anything like that?
You know, absolutely, absolutely, Gail. And, you know, and I want to just say that, you know, as we're saying how grateful we are that we've had our partner, there have been so many people who have not had a partner during this time. And I think that, you know, speaking to us and to them, a piece that really deepened, at least for me and for Jonathan too, but on an individual basis, was having the opportunity to really go inward and to really, you know, start looking at life in a way that we haven't done before, because there's been too much busyness out in the world, and we've had to, whether we're with a partner or whether we're not, you know, that I like to say that gift, and that's not, perhaps was not easy, but still I feel a treasure from spirit to be able to go inward and to look deeply at our lives and how do we want to shift and change. And yeah, I don't want to.
No, I just think that on a level, we give thanks. We know people who are single And often it's very challenging for them, the need to somehow communicate with others. So blessed be. I mean, this is so interesting. The, if you like, rise of the machine in terms of technology and Zoom and all these other platforms that enable people to communicate with each other from all over the planet. And this would not have happened 20 years ago. Something like this had happened. I don't know. There would have been a multitude of people who would not have been able to encompass this. But I mean, I know many people who found new families through Zoom and other platforms, Facebook and all that stuff. So what an extraordinary blessing. And I'm going to keep going for a second. This is also, if you like, so many people are really in deep states of, I don't know if you want to say trauma or whatnot from what's been going on, that they really need to de-stress. And that's where we come in.
You know,
That's- Go
oh,
ahead.
I was just going to say, you said your business picked up, and you know, people in going through last year turned to different ways of working with reality that perhaps they kind of neglected before. So what were some of the gifts that you found came about because of COVID? I mean, it literally forced you to shift some of the ways you were doing things, or discovered some new things that wouldn't have happened without that opportunity to go deep last year.
You know, it's interesting, Gregory, because you just used the word opportunity. And this morning, as I was thinking about our interview today, and I was reminded of the Chinese character for crisis, which we're all so familiar with. You know, it is like opportunity and danger. And so I think that one of the gifts that happened for us is that we really made it a focus to look at the opportunity, and we wanted to be able to keep our frequency more in the vibration of opportunity. And so that was really what we spent. I mean, that was really the gift that happened for us. And then in that happening, we ended up being contacted by a lot of different organizations and different people to share with them, you know, how we were doing and what we could offer. And then that brought us into our course, our whole sound work. And that was, yeah.
I mean, it's a really amazing phenomena. The amount of sharing and teaching that is going on planetarily with almost everybody. People, if you're like, are coming out of the woodwork, sharing their secrets of mastery, consciousness, whatnot. And blessed be on that one, because how cool is it that people's consciousness and need to expand, that unto itself is accelerating, because that is a real indication that there's true shift and change coming to our planet. Who would have thunk it?
And
Yeah.
you know, our work with sound gave us a beautiful opportunity to share, particularly our work with humming. And that was such a blessing, because humming is something that everybody can do, and people don't judge themselves. And yet at the same time, when we're doing conscious humming, is what we call it, you know, there's that ability to release a lot of that stress.
It's been actually an amazing phenomenon, because we've been so grateful. Just jumping into it, because we're here, the concept of humming is something that Andy and I started focusing on probably 4 or 5 years ago. And we wrote a book called The Humming Effect that actually won the, what was it, 2018 or 2019
Yeah.
Visionary Award for Best Health Book. And we did this simply because we've been working with sound. I've been doing it for 40 years. Andy's been doing it for 25 years. And we work with all sorts of different things: tuning forks, mantras, deep Tibetan overtone chanting and whatnot. But, resonating the chakras with mantras and all that stuff, it's all great. But the thing is that oftentimes it asks people, hey, are you continuing on with this as a daily practice? And they go, no. I can't sing, or I can't make a sound, or this or that. They were too judgmental. And we said, okay, what is a sound that everyone can make and will not be judgmental? And we went,
Shall we go into the hum?
So that's been a great thing. And it's really, blessed be, been picked up by so many different people who are so interested in this, just because it's something, if you like, that is really inclusive. It's not exclusive. You don't have to be a trained musician. You don't have to be a trained singer. You don't have to this or that. Everybody can hum. Everybody can have the experience and the benefits from it. What more could you want?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, we didn't set this up before, right? But I'm going to ask you now that we're here, can you help us with our humming? Now, we, like you, also believe about how we're here to shift the frequency, the vibrational level of everything on the planet and all humans. And I think that was so much a part of this time while everyone was in that inner state to be able to do that. So here's a real thing that we can do. Can you, in a few minutes or whatever, can you do a little thing with us so that
We'd love to.
That-
This is what we're here for. Thank
okay,
you.
let's do that. That would be fun.
Oh, that would be fabulous. And, one of the things that before we actually do a humming experience, the big deal is we want to focus on our breathing, because we want to do those deep belly breaths, that diaphragmatic breathing. And we often say, just put your hands on your belly and take that in breath, breathing in and breathing out, and feeling that abdomen going up and down, and taking some nice deep breaths like this. And what happens is that helps us to relax, and that helps our bodies to actually support our sound. And in this case, it'll be our humming.
And just as a thought, when we deal with humming, we deal with usually just a constant tone, not humming zippity doodah, which is great. But, with this one, you basically hit one tone and you hold it. You take another deep breath, hit that same tone. And we also usually suggest that people find themselves a quiet place where they'll not be disturbed, sit with their back straight, and allow themselves a few minutes to actually do this. Because while we know of people who do humming practices, even driving in cars, not recommended incidentally, but really it's more effective if you do it in a place of centeredness. And just here, I want to play a little quick game with you for a second before we go do this, if you can. Would you, the only thing that we say in terms of humming is find a tone that's comfortable and, usually within the realm of your natural voice, if you can, and not to be strained or anything like that, really, really just at ease. And that's the only thing to say about in terms of doing it, and keeping your lips closed. If you go like this, it's not a hum. That's the only thing. But here we go. Now, would you hum? And I don't, and then start to hum and then pinch your nose. That's all I ask. But you got to have your lips closed.
It's a little game
It's
here.
a game here.
The game. Okay. I have a feeling I can't do it. It doesn't work.
You cannot. Yeah.
You can't.
Hum through your ears unless you have a broken eustachian tube, boss? One of the things that I enjoyed about your humming effect book is the amount of background you go into on how self-produced sounds have a healing, positive effect on the body. And I know just in breathing, the air gets forced into finer and finer little jets until it's reaching, I've understood, a very high speed. Maybe, that speed of breath going in and out is part of the wonderful effect of the sound of air moving in and out of our body. And when you add a hum to it, even more so.
Well, just two quick thoughts. There are two basic ways that sound can be used to shift, change, and heal us.
And they are vibroacoustically and psychoacoustically and vibroacoustically. And when we are humming, the sound goes directly into our body, into our cellular level. And this is an example of sound being used on a vibroacoustic level. And what we've discovered is that the hum is probably one of the most powerful vibroacoustic sounds that we can make. And the other way is psychoacoustically, which the sound goes in through our ears, and that's when we're listening.
Which is hugely powerful and
Oh, yeah,
usually
yeah.
important. Music, and even when we're talking to each other, it conveys information, conveys energy, conveys intention. And intention is so very, very important whenever you are doing anything, whether it's breathing or making a sound. And so humming seems to be a wonderful way of creating the most powerful vibroacoustic effect that we can. As you saw, it's totally self-contained. You open your mouth, it starts coming out, but it's totally in, and maybe it's going through your nose at best. But Gregory, you were mentioning that we had done research and work on the physiological benefits of humming, and the reason for this is when we decided to take a chance to write a book on humming, we thought, how many people are going to take the subject of humming seriously?
Yeah.
And so the first chapter has got to be nothing more or less than peer-reviewed scientific medical information on the benefits of humming. And they include,
Well, when we are humming, we are, as we were saying, that hum goes directly in at a cellular level, and it affects our nervous system, it affects our heart rate, our respiration, our brain waves. It produces different hormones, and such as melatonin and oxytocin. And one of the really incredible things that humming does, it produces nitric oxide. And nitric oxide, Jonathan always likes to talk about that because he likes to visualize it, won the molecule of the year back in 1994 or something.
whatever. It's a wonderful, it is a vasodilator, which means that it literally, there's been a lot of, shall we say, interest these days in nitric oxide, not nitrous oxide, which is great in the dentist chair. It's different though. This is nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator, meaning that it allows, for want of a better term, the blood to flow and all the circulatory system to just flow more easily in the body. And a very cool thing about nitric oxide in these very interesting times is that they found that it has antiviral qualities. So for example, if you hum, you get the release of nitric oxide in your nasal cavity, which is where a lot of those nasty critters will first lodge before they go on to other parts of the body. And one of the things that we have seen is a number of doctors talking about using humming, particularly for the release of nitric oxide to treat conditions such as sinusitis. That's just one of them. I just got a text from a guy who's doing some engineering for me, and I'd suggest he had been having some problems like that. I said, hum. And he said, hey, I've been humming and it's been working. So it's real.
Okay, so let's hum.
Well,
I was just,
more questions.
Dale, you're reading my mind, because I was saying here we're talking so much about it, but once you have the experience, and we once again call this conscious humming, and so let's all do let's do 3 or 4 hums.
Let's go 5.
5. Let's do 5 hums.
And just a thought, one last one though. It's so important, if you can, when you're doing this deep breathing, to add the focus of intentionality. The first time that we're going to do it just with you, we just want you all, everybody who's watching, to experience whatever they're experiencing. But then you can basically begin to encode the hum with whatever intention you want, whatever, and where it vibrates in your body, you can literally shift and change that with a slightly difference of either pitch or intention. So you can go from the head to the heart with literally your intentionality. And the other thing I want to suggest, we'll talk about more about this later, is the importance of being in gratitude and love whenever we do anything.
So let's just begin, and let's close our eyes. That can really amplify and really help that stress
Oh,
reduction.
one last thing.
Uh-huh.
And then for a little while, right after that, we just want to be in silence.
Right.
Because silence is the place where the sound creates the greatest shift and change. I know that being in silence on a Zoom or on the radio is not the best thing, so keep it short. But I want to suggest to people that if they make sound, which is a great, great transformational tool, silence is the yin to the yang of sound.
So let us close our eyes and remember to just stay in our comfort zone with our hum, and begin to do some nice deep breathing. Take a few nice deep breaths, some of those beautiful belly breaths. And just release anything that is not serving you in this moment. Let that out with a sigh. And as we're breathing and feeling our bodies relax, we'll now, Jonathan, why don't you lead us in some hums?
I love it. And let's close our eyes too if we're not doing that, if possible, because that facilitates deep meditational sound experience. So taking the last breath in and then
And one more.
just checking yourself out.
And being in silence after we've had that sound experience. It's where the shifts and changes oftentimes occur.
Okay, coming back to earth for us.
It's a little hard to come back. Anyway, in that silence, it's such a beautiful time because that inner wisdom has that way of coming through after we've shifted our frequency and our vibration with our sound. And how did you all experience that?
I am still vibrating.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it throughout my whole body, and it was just wonderful centering and invigorating, but in a very calm way. Just really coming back to center. And as we've been talking about this time that we've all been going through, any way that we can implement that place of coming into our center, our core, our soul, has been so important and incredibly important as we move forward, as we are building back and creating new pathways for our lives, that centering is just critical. So humming, meditating, doing Tai Chi, whatever,
Totally.
or do it all.
Or
It's-
humming when doing Tai Chi. I mean, it's interesting being inclusive. Just a thought, and it's so cool, is that just by taking a couple of deep breaths and humming for like 2 or 3 times will lower your blood pressure at pharmaceutical levels. And literally, this is so cool. If people are at all stressed out about doing anything, just do a couple of hums and you will notice a difference. And the more that you hum, basically, the more that you practice doing it, the more adept you will be at being able to feel it vibrating and resonating and creating shift and changes. As you know, I've done all sorts of different sound experiences for a long time, and we are now become devotees of the hum.
Well, and Gail, I liked what you just said because really it does all of those things where it does bring us into that center. And but what I love about humming is that we become our own therapist. We have that ability within ourselves to shift and change our frequency and our vibration. And that's a very empowering frame, if you will, during this time particularly.
certainly is.
It is, and I love it because there are so many things that we can do to self-heal. And while humming, I worked with intent because that's what I do all the time. And I love taking that hum and moving it to a part of my body that was feeling some pain, and it started to go into a buzzing of bees. And it was like they were just all moving around, and I could feel the energy move around. And even now, while I'm talking about it, it's kind of re-encouraging that part of my body to feel the bee buzzing. And then they just start flying away with the pain and allowing the blood to flow. And I could feel that in my body just by working with that sound of and doing it together, to hum together. It's almost like you don't have to worry about anything. Am I doing it right? Is this the right hum to fit in with someone else's hum? It's kind of like it brings it to such a basic level that we're all okay no matter what we're doing. And when we acknowledge that and bring those vibrations through sound, and that's something else I wonder about. When earlier, Jonathan, you were talking about how the voice carries intention to others, but what about self-intention? When we intend things silently versus bring them into our voice and make statements with them. How do you feel that shifts, or does it shift?
Brilliant, if I got the question right. And it's my perspective that the different prayers on our planet, for example, are for the most part vocalized. They're whispered, chanted, sung, spoken, but they are sounded, they are vocalized, and that's because externalized sound has the ability of really focusing, clarifying, and amplifying our intentionality. Now, with that said, I just really want to honor your brilliant work with, self-massage and vibration, coupling intentionality with the hum, because that's where it's at. So kudos to you, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for that, for the humming. Sound is so important. All of these things that we're all working with, bring them all together and collectively It is a whole new paradigm, and that's what we're really working on here. And I want to ask you about something because I know you have a free gift that you're offering that sounds awesome. And would you share a little bit about that for us?
The
Our global.
global guided sonic meditation, which is actually, it's a wonderful experience that features first Andy leading us in the guided meditation, doing a heart-brain coherence and breathing. It's a really powerful, wonderful thing to expand our electromagnetic field and fill ourselves with the positive energy of gratitude and love. And then there's probably 5 minutes of actual sound toning, and our focus of intent there is personal and planetary healing, because I think that's so important. Once we get past the personal healing, to bring it out to the planet. This is really where the work begins, the deep work. After you have cleared yourself to a way, share it with others. If you have love, if you have compassion, passion, share it with others, because that, it's interesting. We are in the process of helping this Tibetan monk do a online teaching, which is just wonderful. And one of his great, if you like, Tibetan secrets of happiness is that if you experience something, then you share it with others and you're in the path of service. So this guided sonic meditation, I think is a really wonderful experience for people to not only experience their own personal vibratory healing, but also to send the energy out to the planet. What more could you want?
I love it.
Thank
You
you.
know, that's what we couple with everything that we do, is that once you start in the process of healing yourself, the next step to keep that moving at a high level is to be in service to all, because this is our path toward unity that all of us are really experiencing in the work that we do, sharing with the planet to help everyone get to that deep place of connection that can then be of service to all.
So-
Jonathan, and sorry.
I'm going to ask you a question. I want you both to answer. And by the way, I love talking with you this way, and couple to couple. It just does so much for my heart. I love it. I love the way you interact. So similar to what we've been doing over the years. It's precious. So
Thank you, Gail.
so let's talk about, here we are, and there's so many of us, and that's really what drove us to do this project, was bringing people together of service who've been doing amazing transformative work at a time where people are going, give it to me. I'm open to this. Help me, teach me, guide me. And so a lot's been going on, and a lot more I know will continue to come out. And what is your vision? How do you see people and the world as we're emerging from this time of lockdown and emerging from this time, having that quiet inner revealing time and moving back out into more more into the world? What do you see? How do you see life changing? What kinds of shifts do you see?
Gail, that is a great question. And I know that it is one that we and probably our listeners have really thought a lot about, because there is so much that is unknown. We're having to navigate in this new vibration, this new frequency. And what do we do? What is it we want to manifest, globally? And, I was going to say that it's interesting when, Gregory, you were talking about, just being able to share with people and, the sound. And I wanted to say that we have an affirmation that we say, which is, we heal ourselves and we heal the planet we heal the planet, and we heal ourselves. So there's this feedback loop. And my vision is that that feedback loop that will actually happen, that we will see, you know, in this unknown energy that is out there, that this inner work that many of us have done will, that non-separation, that unity, that love for all people, that oneness, that we are all in this together. And that, to me, is my prayer, that we can embrace that oneness and know, through having gone through all of this, hey, we are not alone. Everybody was experiencing this
Mhm.
new way of being. I like to say, I like to focus it more on that positive frequency. And I know Jonathan probably has.
Well, I would just like to say that there's so much divisiveness going on now, and I think some of it is occurring, if you like, through energetic forces that are trying to keep the oneness from happening. It just feels as though you can almost see this manipulation in through the medium, and has been going on for quite a while in terms of us and them. And that's the real key. If you want to divide a house, create us and them. If you want to unite a house, we are all one. And it's like, wow, you know, what a concept. And we need to remember that, because otherwise it's
And I think
challenging.
I think that for us, what we are, you know, holding is that container of that we are all one, and that compassion and that loving kindness and that oneness of all of us. You know, that's what we are holding, because there is the other part. There is the divisiveness, and there is the dividing, and there's this and there's that. But we don't have to go there. We don't have to focus on that. We can focus on opening our hearts to all people. And I think if we hold that vibration, you know, just due to the electromagnetic field of the planet, that vibration is going to get out there in some capacity.
You know, it's so important to focus on those that are willing to increase the vibration, work with the vibration. So as you know, and that's part of when we're creating that resonance, as you're just talking about, Andy, within ourselves. Those are the people that are going to be drawn into our lives, that are open to resonating with, you know, that unity. And it's the only game in town eventually. And so, you know, we've just got to start playing it every chance we get. And last year, I am wondering, were there any insights or new versions of your working with sound, working with other people that started to pop up because of your opportunity to have so much time to focus and be together and be in that space of creative, you know, creative togetherness?
Gregory, I'd like to suggest that, yeah, great question. And one primary example that I'd love to share with you is that every year, in fact, coming up this February on Valentine's Day, it's going to be the 20th anniversary, and last year was the 19th anniversary, 19th annual World Sound Healing Day, where people throughout the planet would somehow create a sound coupled with the energy of love and project it as a sonic valentine to the Gaia matrix in order to raise the vibratory awareness of our planet. And we were a little concerned because there ain't nothing like doing this live. I mean, bottom line, being able to be in a room. I know that you know, I think you've resonated with us in the past, and it's real and it's palpable. And we go, well, how can we create some sort of event that is like this? And we somehow were guided to create it like an online portal for this. And there are hundreds and hundreds of different events occurring throughout the planet with so many different people just freely, sounding with us. And it wasn't just a tone, a hum, an ah, or an om. Some people did music, some people did X, Y, or Z, played crystal bowls. And it was a beautiful and wonderful, if you like, just the fact that we were able to do that, to me, represented an extraordinary shift for positivity on our planet.
And it certainly was a challenge in this time. How do we continue on with, for instance, World Sound Healing Day, which is a time where people gather all over the planet in their groups, in person. And here we are, not able to do that. And so coming up with this online portal was something that was just similar to really what you guys are even doing right now, is we're coming up with these new ways that we can include everyone and share with everyone. So that Chinese character of danger and opportunity, we've gotten a lot of opportunities that have come through.
And all that we've learned to do with these platforms like Zoom and all the very creative ways that people have accessed, I don't think that they're going away. What I think is going to happen is it's going to be a both and. We're going to have this, and we're also going to have the personal gatherings. And to me, what that does is it gives us so much more. It's just building the field more and more. And at the same time, also enabling us to have that inner reflective time that is an important part of this whole quotient of creating the unity. And I love what you also said before about unity. And yes, we are experiencing incredible divisiveness, and yet it's always been here. There's so much that I think has risen to our view, and it's always been there. And sometimes it's kind of like, like when, something has to come to the surface to pop. So I look at that as a gift, that we are going to be able to create real unity, not just like glossed over nicey unity, but like real down to earth unity, because we can see what's there, because we're willing to go into those darker places and still come back and say, we are one, we are that synergy, we are that co-creation. And so I'd love to get your reflection on that as well.
Well, Gail, what you just said is a thought that I've had many times, is that this is going to be both and, because this has been, the platforms now where people are able to communicate. It was interesting at the very beginning of the pandemic, when we were actually in the lockdown sort of phase. A friend of mine, his brother had passed away, and there was, a lot of trying to figure out how to honor him and what to do. And it was just when Zoom was kind of beginning, and it was the most beautiful, beautiful ceremony. There were 50 or 60 people from around the United States that were able, through Zoom, to be a part of this incredible honoring of this beautiful soul who had passed away. And I thought then, this could never have happened without the pandemic. And my guess is that, gosh, even later on, it's like you might have something in person for someone that's passed away, but you could also do a Zoom for them, to gather people from around the world to honor them. So I had that thought, Gail, too, of that both and. Yeah.
Yeah, Okay, nothing to add except totally true.
Well, let's go back and I would like
Mhm.
to just get your reflection on dealing with our diversities. You know, the that fact that all of what's surfacing is not new. It's been there. It's just that we haven't. I mean, I think that this past year and a half has just really given us like an extra dose of it, and it's important. And I think that's part of this gift, is the gift of this time, that we have enough reflective time to really look at it more deeply, find that place within ourselves that's out of balance, you know, that place within ourselves that has those thoughts that we, you know, don't really want to admit, but they've raced through our brain at some point, and how we come to terms with it and come to love all of those aspects of who we are and who we are reflected into all over the world.
Yes, honey.
I think that it's really important for us to try to understand the thinkings and consciousness of people, if they are, if you like, contrary to ours, and really try to know how they got to where they are and why. We've actually taken to watching all different sorts of news networks, not fun, but all sorts of different news networks, just to understand where the thinking is coming from and why the thinking is coming. Is something being manipulated? How is it being manipulated? Are both sides ultimately manipulating to get their cause across and make the other person bad? Is this, you know, and we begin to get to that level. And then you realize that you really need compassionate understanding to go, okay, I get that. I get that. And that for me is so important, rather than dismissing the other person as being something else. And there's a whole lot of dismissal and a lot of degradation of people because of belief systems that doesn't achieve anything.
You know, it would be fun if we let people come together and they didn't talk, or they just hummed, or they just danced, or they just, you know, there's so many things that we as human beings do that gives us joy, that gives us value. And it often is, you know, around family members and being connected to others and doing these things. And if we can visualize that aspect, you know, when we're interacting with all these different types of people, because the upset, if it's striking me, is inside my head. And sometimes it comes out through my voice and my actions, but that isn't changing anyone else other than my and making it difficult for me. And so again and again, to come back to, I like a simple hum. You know, I'm with you. If you know, rather than try to analyze the situation, let me just hum on it for a few moments and see if my thought process changes, because thoughts shift from time to time over the centuries, over the millennia, but there are basic things that all human beings carry with them all the time. And, you know, it's like some of these things that we are doing today are some of those basic human qualities. Like someone called or sent a letter to Obama after his dog died and said, you know, I love my dog, and so I really feel for you. I feel you were the worst president that ever happened, but I feel for you because you lost your dog, and I can relate to that.
We have to find our ways, our places to relate to each
And our
other.
resonance with each person.
Yeah.
And that compassionate understanding, you know, if we can go into that place of holding, you know, we're all these we're all on this bus together. We always say we're all bozos on this bus together, but everyone, this humankind, we're all there are many more similarities than there are differences in being a human being, and being able to have that compassion, that and understanding is, from my perspective,
Mhm.
just really important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to veer off for just a moment, because one thing we all have in common is we all have a body and we all have an energy system and we all work with frequency and vibration. And you've done so much work with that. And I know that one of the, you have a special bonus offer that I'd love you to talk about, that is about how people can work with their chakras with sound. Can you talk a little bit about that for us, please?
Thank you, Gail. This was a project really long in the making. It's one of those things that manifested at the right time. And all it is simply, golly gee, back in the mid 1980s, I developed a system of resonating the chakras, the energy centers of the body, with the vowel sounds, which are considered sacred in many different traditions. And this is simply a daily toning practice. It's a week long. You work with all 7 chakras, and then there's included in there is an 8th where you go through all of the different chakras. And it's a wonderful video. I talk a little bit, lead people in a guided meditation, and then we all sound the chakras together. And it's a wonderful experience.
Sounds wonderful. And
There we
so
go.
is this it's a video that they'll be able to download.
But
And
it's an online teaching, if you like. It was presented like that, and there's a booklet and all that stuff. So it's done as a regular course. It's not live, but then again, that's one of the benefits. There are so few of these things. I'm sure we're live now, but at some other point in time and space, this will be a download that's available for people, because that's the way things are. So this is, if you like, a teaching download that will help bring people into resonance and health and harmony. And one of the things that we like to suggest is that through our own sounding, we can help come to a place of higher consciousness and enhanced immunity.
thank
Mhm.
you. Thank you. That is
Mhm.
such a wonderful, wonderful offer. What a beautiful gift. And the energetic field, as we are
Mhm.
healing and balancing our energetic field, what is it doing to our environment? What is it doing in our relationships? What is it doing to all of what's going on all over the planet? What do you see happening around that, Jonathan?
That is a huge question. And I think, as always, as we said, we heal the planet, we heal ourselves, we heal ourselves, we heal the planet. So there's this whole, if you like, there's one of the things that makes for the whole concept of Advaita, or non-duality, Sanskrit term, the concept of oneness, is like being, if you like, looked at in quantum physics in terms of the whole phenomena that we are totally enmeshed with each other. Whether or not we're aware of it is another story. But we're all like dancing together on the etheric planes right now. And I know that you're aware of it, but it's like, probably consciously we might not be that aware of it, but it's happening and it's real. We are one.
And things are really shifting, aren't they? They really, I really feel it. And I know a lot of people are seeing it. And there's so much that we really are building. It's always first on those higher plane levels, and then it becomes more tangible. We get to really see what we've done. But that takes, we build it on those inner levels first.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's really important. I mean, I really appreciate this, video teaching, because it's great to have, okay, we're going to do this now, and then leading you in the meditation. It's very powerful, and it works. And what more can I say except it's powerful and it works and it's effective, and glad we made it available. And thank you for
Thank you for allowing us to make that available.
And I think you've got it at a very special price from what it usually is, about, or much, much smaller.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people will be, there's a page that they'll go to, they'll be able to click on the links and also get to your website, healingsounds.com, and see all the other wonderful gifts that you have created.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just going to say, and our website, we have got really a lot of instructional material on sound. I mean, there's a lot of, sound healing tools that people really, enjoy and get a lot of benefit from. But we also have a lot of educational material as well. So, and Jonathan has written some great blogs during this time that people can access through our website. So we invite all of our listeners to join us.
It's so interesting, working with sound, and I keep uncovering more. It just feels as though we are now approaching a level where sound is getting to the popularity, for want of a better term, of where yoga was at a few years ago. Mm-hmm. And so there are very many different ways that people can begin to pursue it, but it's going to be happening because as we realize that we are all vibratory beings, then we realize we can shift and change and basically attune with the needed vibrations, particularly through sound and intentionality.
Well, and I just want to say, when we are making sound and when we are sounding together, whether we're humming or whether we're toning, but when we are making those sounds, the hormone oxytocin is released, and that's the trust hormone. And we then begin to feel that connection. We feel safe in connecting with those people. I know so many experiences that we've had, through our work together, people just feel connected when they're in the sound. And that is, I believe that's because of many things, but the oxytocin for sure.
It's a great conduit for the spirit too. Last thing, sound.
Yeah.
In the beginning was the word. The original sound of creation may have been, for want of a better term, the hum. From the the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. Sutra 1.27 says that the original sound of creation was pranava, the humming of prana. They had to give it a name, so they called it Om. So the Om came from the hum.
So that hum is the original sound, perhaps.
Awesome.
So,
Awesome.
it's so interesting. Earlier, when you were talking about the discord that's showing up in the world, it's almost like it's the cacophony that's trying to drown out the rising vibrational hum of unity. That Om of creation is coming through stronger than ever. There are new vibrations. I think all kind of are sensing that. So that newness of energy coming in, that is why the world's kind of reacting, but it's going to be inevitable. The new sound is taking over.
I think if we just stay the course and know that, yes, this is happening, that cacophony is trying to get in there and, somehow squelch this, but it eventually won't. And as long as we stay focused with our frequency of love and compassion, that's the best we can do to put that energy, to fuel that energy of bringing everyone together.
But just a thought. If there's a science called cymatics, which is a study of waveform phenomena. And basically, without going into detail, you take a plate, you put sand or you put water on it, you vibrate the plate, it takes on a form. Very cool. If you keep the same sound, the It'll take one form. In order to shift and change and create a different form, you need to change, if you like, create disharmonious vibrations in order for the new structure to occur.
Beautiful.
And so
So as we're wrapping up, and I want to thank you both so much. This has just been so beautiful. And so I have this thought. How about if we end this time together with a sound that resonates out and brings in this higher frequency? Can we do that?
Sure.
What a perfect, beautiful intention. And you know, we've got that formula, frequency plus intent equals healing. And that's what we can do right now together.
And we'll invite everyone who's listening to
Yes.
participate with us.
Mhm.
Yes.
Gail, I'm going to invite you to lead the meditation, and I would have Andy do it, but I'm going to invite you to do it because it's your idea.
I love that.
Okay. So let's just, I know breath is so important. So let's take a few nice cleansing, healing, and elevating and loving breaths. And with an awareness of love and compassion, feeling our hearts opening, let's all come together and let's just share 3 beautiful tones that build the field for all of us in this time of evolution and transformation and compassion. Okay, so if you'll all join me right now, I'll start with my sound, just a tone. Okay, here we go. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jonathan Goldman, Andy Goldman, dear friends, dear hearts. Thank you all. And come back and join us again soon. Our blessings and love.
Thank you, Gail and Gregory, and to all of our audience, many blessings of love and light through sound to each of you from us.
Thank you, sweethearts. Thank you for watching and being a part of the Divine Paradigm co-creation. The time has come for us to work together in co-creative ways, with the outcome being greater than any of us could have achieved alone. You make a difference in this important time, so thank you so much. We want to let you know tomorrow there will be another amazing conversation with one of the heartfelt thought leaders who have chosen to be a part of this symposium. Each program is available for 48 hours, and all of them can be replayed on Sundays. You will be receiving an email in your inbox that will take you to the next conversation. So make sure you're getting our emails. Please stay with us and stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of fun with some powerful messages. The full program takes place 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday for 3 weeks. And the full program will also be available at the end for purchase. Keep checking back to the page to enjoy our next conversation. Blessings and love.